The moment that palace press release went live, something inside the monarchy quietly snapped, and almost no one realized it at first. A historic ceremonial title handed to Prince George, wrapped in language about tradition, continuity, and the future of the crown, looked like a routine royal milestone. But behind that polished announcement was a devastating reality unfolding in real time. Queen Camilla, the woman who fought for decades to secure her place beside King Charles, reportedly discovered in that exact same moment that her own grandson, Freddy Parker Bowles, had just been permanently shut out of the future she had been carefully trying to build. And the way it happened made it worse. There was no private briefing, no quiet conversation, no warning from King Charles, no intervention from palace aides. Camilla didn't hear it from her husband, the king. She read it like everyone else, through the official palace announcement, cold and final, a public declaration that carried a private message: "Your family does not belong here." That detail alone changes everything. Because it suggests this wasn't just a decision, it was a line drawn deliberately, with no room for negotiation. But this wasn't about one title, and it certainly wasn't about one afternoon. This was the collision point of years of quiet maneuvering, unspoken expectations, and a hidden power struggle that had been building behind palace walls long before Prince George ever stepped into that ceremonial role. Because Queen Camilla, once Camilla Rosemary Shand, didn't just fight to become queen consort. She fought to rewrite her story inside the monarchy, and more importantly, to secure a future for her bloodline within it. For decades, Camilla navigated the most hostile terrain imaginable. From her relationship with King Charles during his marriage to Princess Diana, to public outrage, to eventual acceptance, every step she took was calculated, careful, and deeply strategic. And once she secured her place beside the king, insiders say her focus shifted to something far more personal: her legacy. Not just as queen, but as a matriarch whose children and grandchildren, Tom Parker Bowles, Laura Lopes, and their families, would not remain outsiders forever. The monarchy, however, never saw it that way. Officially, Camilla's children and their children were civilians. They were not working royals, not titled, not part of the institution's structure. But Camilla reportedly refused to accept that limitation quietly. Instead, she began a subtle, long-term campaign to shift perception without triggering backlash. Invitations became strategic. Appearances became intentional. Family photographs were carefully composed to include her grandchildren, especially Freddy Parker Bowles, who began appearing more frequently at royal-adjacent gatherings. And that's where things start to look less coincidental and more calculated. Freddy wasn't just present, he was positioned. Seated near key figures, included in environments that blurred the line between private family and public institution. According to insiders, Camilla never demanded titles outright. She didn't push aggressively. Instead, she created a narrative. Her family was already part of the monarchy in everything but name. The implication was clear formal recognition would simply be catching up to reality. At private dinners, charity events, and informal gatherings, Camilla reportedly made sure her grandchildren's presence was noticed. Their accomplishments were mentioned. Their proximity to royal life was highlighted. Palace newsletters and Christmas greetings began reflecting this blended image. It was subtle, but persistent. A slow push toward normalization. Behind closed doors, the ambition reportedly went further. There were discussions, never public, about the possibility of a minor hereditary title for Freddy Parker Bowles. Not something grand enough to disrupt tradition, but enough to formally place him within the royal framework. A barony, perhaps. Something symbolic, but significant. Enough to signal that Camilla's bloodline had a recognized place in the monarchy's future. And then, just as quietly as she was building that vision, resistance was forming against it. Prince William's advisors were reportedly skeptical from the beginning. To them, the monarchy wasn't flexible. It was defined by lineage, by blood, by clarity. Camilla's integration into the institution had already been controversial, but extending that inclusion to her children and grandchildren? That was seen as a risk, a dilution, a potential crisis waiting to happen. William himself, according to multiple insiders, saw the future differently, not as a blended family monarchy, but as a streamlined, tightly controlled institution. Fewer members, clearer roles, no ambiguity about who belongs and who does not. And, crucially, no expansion based on personal relationships or step-family connections. That's where the silent conflict began. Camilla pushing gently but persistently for inclusion. William refusing, not through confrontation, but through absence. No arguments, no public disagreement, just a lack of response that spoke louder than any rejection. And King Charles? He was caught in the middle. For years, Charles reportedly reassured Camilla. He listened to her hopes, acknowledged her concerns, and offered the kind of diplomatic responses that kept the possibility alive. "We'll find the right moment," he allegedly told her more than once. But reassurance is not action. And when the moment finally came, Charles faced a decision that would define the balance of power inside the monarchy. Because the ceremonial title given to Prince George wasn't just an honor. It was the exact kind of symbolic recognition Camilla had quietly envisioned for Freddy Parker Bowles. And when that title went to George without discussion, without compromise, and without warning, it wasn't just a decision, it was a definitive rejection of everything Camilla had been working toward. William, according to insiders, knew exactly what this would mean. He understood the emotional impact, and yet he made no effort to soften it. Some say he believed clarity was necessary, that prolonging false hope would only make the outcome worse. Others see it differently, that this was a calculated assertion of authority, a signal that the future king was already shaping the monarchy in his image. Because in that moment, the power dynamic became impossible to ignore. King Charles may wear the crown, but Prince William controls what comes next. And Charles, despite reportedly considering a compromise, perhaps a lesser title for Freddy Parker Bowles, ultimately stepped back. He didn't fight William's position. He didn't push for Camilla's vision. He chose alignment with the future over loyalty to the present. That decision, insiders say, broke something. For Camilla, it wasn't William's refusal that cut the deepest. It was Charles's silence. After decades of standing by him, defending him, supporting him through controversy and scrutiny, she believed he would stand by her in return. Instead, when it mattered most, he chose the institution over her personal hopes. The fallout wasn't public, but it was unmistakable. Camilla reportedly withdrew, canceling commitments, distancing herself emotionally. Staff noticed the change immediately. The composed, controlled queen who had spent years mastering her public image was suddenly quiet, distant, and visibly shaken. Because this wasn't just about a title, it was about belonging. And in that moment, Camilla was forced to confront a truth she had spent years trying to rewrite. She may be queen, but her family would never be royal. And as the palace celebrated Prince George stepping into his future, another story was unfolding behind closed doors, one of exclusion, betrayal, and a monarchy quietly redefining itself with ruthless precision. But what no one is asking publicly is the question that now hangs over everything. If Prince William was willing to draw this line so clearly against Queen Camilla's family, what other lines has he already decided to draw? And who will be on the wrong side of them next? What makes this moment even more explosive is not what was announced, but what it quietly confirmed across the entire royal system. Because once Prince George received that ceremonial title, every insider, every courtier, every strategist inside the palace understood the same thing instantly: the debate was over. The monarchy had chosen its future, and that choice did not include the Parker Bowles bloodline. And that realization didn't just stay inside Clarence House or Buckingham Palace. It began rippling outward, creating a new, unspoken hierarchy that no press release would ever admit. On one side stood Prince George, already stepping into a role that signals sovereignty, legacy, and inevitable power. On the other side stood Freddy Parker Bowles, raised in proximity to the same royal world, yet now permanently positioned outside its official structure. The contrast wasn't accidental. It was constructed. This is where the story shifts from emotional fallout to strategic consequence. Because Prince William's decision wasn't reactive, it was architectural. He isn't just protecting tradition, he's redesigning the monarchy itself. And every move, every title, every absence is part of that blueprint. His model is precise: fewer royals, tighter control, no blurred lines, no extended privileges. A system where identity is defined strictly by Windsor blood, not association, not marriage, not sentiment. That explains why Camilla's quiet campaign was never going to succeed, no matter how carefully she played it. Her approach relied on proximity, on normalization, on slowly integrating her family into the royal image until resistance faded. But William's strategy does the opposite. It eliminates ambiguity before it can grow. It draws lines early, publicly, and without compromise. And the timing of Prince George's title becomes critical here. This wasn't just about honoring a future king. It was about locking the structure in place before anyone could challenge it. By elevating George now, William effectively closed the door on any parallel recognition. There's no space left, no symbolic gap that could be filled later. The system is already defined. For Camilla, that realization cuts deeper than the announcement itself, because it exposes the truth behind years of polite silence. Every unanswered suggestion, every delayed conversation, every vague reassurance from Charles, it all leads back to this moment. She wasn't being considered. She was being managed. Some insiders have already begun to quietly acknowledge this risk. Not publicly, not on record, but in private conversations where the long-term stability of the monarchy is discussed in more honest terms. Because while William's streamlined vision strengthens clarity, it also sharpens exclusion. And exclusion, even when justified, has consequences that are harder to control. For now, the public sees a clean, focused royal family moving confidently into the future. The narrative is strong, the image is stable, and Prince George's elevation reinforces everything the monarchy wants to project. But behind that image, a different story is unfolding, one of separation, of quiet resentment, of relationships shifting under pressure. And Queen Camilla stands at the center of that divide. She achieved what once seemed impossible. She became queen. She secured her place in history. But in doing so, she has been forced to confront a reality she cannot change. Her legacy ends with her. The Parker Bowles name, despite its proximity to the crown, will not carry forward within it. And that realization doesn't just affect her, it reshapes how every decision, every interaction, every future moment will be interpreted from here on. Because once a line like this is drawn, it doesn't fade. It becomes precedent. So the real question now isn't whether Camilla will recover from this or whether the palace will smooth over the tension. The real question is what happens the next time a decision like this has to be made, when another name, another title, another future is placed on the table. Because if Prince William has already shown he's willing to shut the door this firmly once, there's every reason to believe he'll do it again. And next time, the consequences might not stay behind palace walls.